Hi everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot. I'm Denise and this reading is for Saturday, November 7th. But of course, it's timeless because I will dive into spiritual law as much as possible. So, what is it that we need to know? Aligning with the forces of love to help us heal, to help us come home to who we truly are. Okay, so we have the Six of Wands reversed. We have the King of Cups for the theme. That's wonderful. And we have the Ten of Cups. Awesome. Okay. I'm channeling one of my granddaughters when they were very little. Okay, so the King of Cups is all about emotional integrity, emotional intelligence. It honors all that is sacred, just like the Queen of Cups. So there's the structure there because all the kings are about structure and organization. So this is about organizing our lives based on purifying our emotional bodies, getting out of any emotionally reactive issues, and especially if it comes to not being seen. With the Six of Wands reversed, we're in that realm of not entirely being seen in who you truly are. I mean, when it's straight up, you can see the beautiful image. But maybe we don't really need to be seen like that. Maybe we don't need to be famous. Maybe we just need to come back home to who we are and see ourselves for who we truly are. And of course, as humans, we all have faults. I mean, it doesn't matter, even how old you are. But I will say the older you get, if you've been working on yourself for a long time, you finally get to the place where you can stop yourself when you go to a dark place. When you go to a negative thought, you can go, oh, oops, wait, hold on. Reel yourself back in, and then you can turn things back upright, headed towards the light. But the light's inside always, and it's everywhere. It's the forces of love are everywhere. So, but back into the King of Cups is it's one of the best cards in the deck. I love this card. It's my Joe Biden card. And I've decided that Kamala Harris is my Queen of Cups. Even though, I don't know that she's psychic at all, but I just feel like they're or maybe Jill Biden will be the Queen of Cups. Maybe that's it. Maybe the Queen of Cups can share, all different people. Of course. I mean, because we're in an archetype here. It's not just one person. So, King of Cups has everything to do with emotional balance and generosity. It's like the generosity of spirit. And knowing that the love is always there, inside of you and everywhere. So there's no reason to go to the dark places. It helps you to reorganize yourself back into the truth, back into who you truly are, and to let yourself just flow with the stream of life. To become one with the flow of life. This is really beautiful. So if you get to a place where you're needing to heal, not being seen, and not being heard or understood, just know that comes from, maybe a father issue, but definitely, something in your past, in your childhood, where you weren't encouraged, where you weren't loved just for who you are and mirrored just for who you are. So it can sometimes be like a developmental trauma where there's no eye contact with the mother in the early days, or because maybe there was a problem with your birth and your mother was maybe childbirth trauma for the mother. That can happen as well. And it can also have happened for many of us, older people who, the birth process had to do with a lot of drugs. and so the mother wasn't totally present because she couldn't be, or maybe it was a C-section, and so that connection, as soon as you come out of the birth canal, if it's not there, even though the baby doesn't really open his eyes and see right away, if the mother has the eyes and the mother and the father have their eyes on the baby, they feel it. So, but this, even beyond birth trauma, we're talking about growing up when you're 2, 3, 4, and trying to understand how life works on an emotional level. And you look to your parents. That's why 4-year-olds are always, why? Everything's why. And it's because they're trying to understand how life works. And they're trying to connect with the only people that they are their new you come from the highest realms of the spirit world, and that's just so blissful and pure, and there's no pain. And then you're born here, and it's like, and you're crying, and your parents don't come. You're in pain because you feel like you might die. You're starving and you think that you're going to die. So there's survival issues and fears that come up. So there's so much material that comes up that is so challenging, birthing onto this earth plane and then trying to survive here when you're little. And you have to be mirrored. If you're not mirrored in the loving, blissful way that was, the quality of life from which you originally come from, then what happens is that we all have this natural tendency to think that there's something wrong with us. So then we hide our light. And then we don't feel that it's safe to shine. And that's, that's something that we have to work through as adults. We have to clear that out. But we have to love ourselves through that pain as well. So when we can heal that within ourselves, then we can be seen and heard and understood for who we truly are. And when we're not, because that's the way it is here, on this earthly plane, like half the time you're going to be mirrored and people will see who you truly are, and the other half the time they won't, but you're okay anyway. It's to remember that no matter what, you're okay anyway. Because if you can see yourself and who you truly are, and that happens on the inner levels first, if you can feel your love for yourself, then it doesn't matter. You don't need the public recognition, But when you get it, it's still great. It's still wonderful, and it's wonderful because you see them, and we become mirrors for each other, and we need to be mirrors for each other. That's why we're individuals, right? Okay, and then the Ten of Cups is all about the happy family, happiness. It is a very family-oriented card, but it's also all relationships. It can be the extended family because, it's all with a 10. It's, completion and a new beginning. So it's just this flow of love that continues to keep coming in. These are wonderful cards to have together. Really, really wonderful. So this can be a fulfillment. It's possible with the Ten of Cups that there's a marriage. It's definitely, an alignment of some sorts. There's a connection inward where, there's that affinity, the law of affinity, and like attracts like. Well, there's an alignment of values here. It's really beautiful. And it's deeply transformative because this is a natural Mars in Scorpio card. So it's that, and Mars, that energy has you going towards what you want. And what we all really want to do here on Earth, whether we realize it or not, is we want to heal. We want to transform. Because that's how we get our power back, Because on planet Earth, it's sometimes our life force gets distorted and we're afraid to be seen. We're afraid to be heard. And so we don't go the extra mile to make ourselves understood because if we have wounding in that area, we'll feel like, what's the use? So we have to be really careful about that. to communicate, the truth from within, it takes a lot. It takes a tremendous amount of work. You have to keep reconnecting with the person that you're with and saying, wait, I said this, but I really meant that, or do you know what I mean? Or, the opposite can be that they say something that isn't clear, and they're not making themselves understood right, and then you have to go, wait, can you explain that? Please explain. I really want to know. And when you do, that opens up the love between the two of you, or the four of you, or the 10 of you. This can be grandparents with this. These two people could be substituted for grandparents with their grandchildren. This could be two kids that are, watching their parents out in the ocean. You can turn this any way you want. But this has to do with the fulfillment of loving relationships. And to do that, we have to stop hiding our light, and we have to make ourselves understood. And when we don't know what we mean, or we don't know what we want, or we don't know how to stop hiding, then that's what we work on. And that's okay. That's okay, because the process is all about coming into alignment with your emotional integrity, with your real feelings that are inside. And feelings change and move, just like the water's always flowing, and there's that ebb and flow of the ocean. They always change, they come and go, and we're okay with that flow. We never want to hold tight to that anyway. We want it to flow. We want it to flow. So wherever there isn't the flow, we have to go inside and find out what it is that is making us feel like we have any, lack of self-confidence. And it always comes from the childhood. Self-confidence comes easily when you've had parents that mirror you, because, they've been able to be more present with you from the get-go. And that's, all the new generation is, those kids they'll never have the problems that we had growing up, because things are evolving constantly. The family is always growing and evolving. And the emotional body within every person is always growing and evolving. But you can get there faster, and you can do your work quicker if you work on wherever you feel any lack of self-confidence. That'll be a big help. For some people, for everyone, this is a part of ego development, because when your ego is strong and healthy, what you have, which strong and healthy, by strong and healthy I mean balanced, and your ego is put in the service of your higher self, and it's not put in the service of trying to be rich and famous, or trying to be, not that any of those things are bad. Sometimes that is the natural path for some people, is to be a star, or to be wealthy, and to share their wealth. But we're all wealthy on the inner levels. We just have to tap into that first. But when the Six of Wands comes in reversed, sometimes there's an ego development issue, and you have to have a strong, healthy ego before you can let go of it. And you never get rid of it. If you didn't have an ego, you wouldn't know who you were. You wouldn't be able to say your name. You would be mentally incapacitated on some level, or on many levels. So when they say to be egoless, it's coming from the right. It's coming from the the right vein of truth, but it's a little distorted, because you never want to get rid of you can't get rid of your ego. Your ego is part of your personality, and is part of the beautiful uniqueness that you are. So that might be an understanding for some people, but back to an underdeveloped ego will be dependent on how other people feel about them, and that would be the issue that needs to be worked through. So if there's a lack of confidence, and you feel that there are places where you need a lot of reassurance from the outside, just know that that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's something that you're working through from your childhood. There's some child consciousness that needs transformed. And you can see that here in this beautiful, imagine like the healthy mommy and the children that feel so loved, and it's like they're out there, look at me, mom, look what I'm doing. I mean, you know how kids are. It's always look at me. And they need that, and that is valid, and that is important. So that's I think all I have to say. I can't think if there's anything else. Let me grab these cards here quickly, and then I'll pull it all together. Is there anything else? Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, okay. So let's bring this together here. So on our way to our really strong ego, the healthy ego that you can kind of like set aside and take your cues from your higher self, there's the in-between. The flamingo spirits is embrace the in-between. And that is truly what healing is all about. We are literally bridging the gap. We are constantly like bringing back pieces of our soul substance that was like frozen. I mean, I always remember a quote from Barbara Brennan, an energy, one of the leading energy healers on the planet. She said that false beliefs are frozen psychic time conglomerates. So we always have to go back to the past and then feel the issues that it brings up, which is our lack of self-confidence. We have to understand where that came from and feel that pain. And as we do that, then we literally thaw out that numbness that was there. Those frozen psychic time conglomerates dissolve. And then without the numbness anymore, then we're bridging that gap. We're like reconciling a soul split, which is beautiful. It's that, and that's the key to life, is to reconcile those soul splits. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's all I have for today. And I thank you for listening, and I'll be back for Sundays. Okay. Bye.